we on?
You're on.
Producer Lauren starting off a brand new podcast. What are we calling it?
Hopefully this one goes well.
This one's going to make it past 5 episodes. Shall we agree on that?
Yeah.
So welcome to the first ever episode of The Final Whistle with me, Dan Hambridge.
I was unsure of the name at first.
I like it.
Okay.
So
That's all that matters.
what we're going to try and do, we're going to try and look at as many different sports stories across the world, not just NFL stuff, but
Mainly NFL.
mainly NFL. Most likely because United are crap, and let's just get that out there. At filming this, we're currently winning 1-0 against Burnley. So we'll find out by the end of this podcast what score it actually finishes.
Come on, Burnley.
Come on, United! But I wanted to start today's podcast because I had this whole thing planned out about how Micah Parsons coming to the Green Bay Packers, why we should do it, the amazing things that it was going to be, and then late last night, the Green Bay Packers got Micah Parsons, and to say I am ecstatic is an understatement. How do you feel about that, Lauren?
And now a die-hard Packers fan. No more Lions if we've got the
I'm
best
just
player.
going to throw something out there to the world. We got back from London the other night and someone tried burgling the house. So, burglar, if you're listening, I hope you trip over a curb. That's for you. But during the night, my phone was buzzing like crazy. And because Lauren's pregnant, she was up and down to the toilet. And at like 11:30, I was like, Lauren, we've signed me Micah Parsons. And she went, what? She was like, yeah, we've signed him. And then she rolled back over. But then she had the cheek to say, oh, we're going to do really well now, aren't we? And I was like, stop sitting on the fence. Either pick the Packers or pick the Lions. There is no fence sitting in this house, all right?
I'm not obsessed with the Lions like as a team. I like the colours and I like Detroit. I have a passion for fashion, and unfortunately, your team is yellow and pissing green.
With a nice little piece of cheese. What more do you want?
I do love the cheese.
So, with Micah Parsons, I've seen a lot of people creating content over the last couple of days, really. And it's mint content, absolutely amazing. And they're all talking about the stats behind Micah Parsons, his technique, all this amazing stuff that he can do as a football player. But the one thing I wanted to spend the first episode talking about is not about the great player that Micah Parsons is, which he is, but the absolute statement that the Green Bay Packers are putting out to the team, to the coach, to the world. This is your Super Bowl window. Do not mess it up. That's what I took away from it, because we never make these moves. We never, ever make these big moves in free agency. And the fact that a couple of years ago it was JJ Watt, last year there was a little bit of flirting with Myles Garrett, and as a Packers fan, you knew it was never going to happen. Yet when this one came in, for me, I was like, forget the statement of him, forget the technique, forget everything that he can do as a football player, but let's look at the statement from the Packers. All right. And I made some notes before this podcast because I was trying to think about what those statements are. I think the GM is looking at the organisation, looking at the fan base, everything, and they are now saying, now's our time to compete. This is it. We don't usually do this before. This is the time, so let's get going. He's made a statement to the coach, to the players, saying, this is your window. To Jordan Love, this is your window, and we will give you everything that we can for you to compete. Now go and do it. Which is amazing. And the great thing about the NFL is that we are now trying to introduce new fans into the league. There's a Channel 5 TV show, so you don't need a subscription to watch games, and it's amazing. But I tried to think about, in our football, in our Premier League, in our soccer, what is the same type of thing. All right, so The big thing that you could relate it to, when Manchester United signed Eric Cantona, it completely changed the way Manchester United was. That was the start of, we're going to compete, we're going to be relentless, we're going to be the best team in the world, and we expect to win. And the Micah Parsons thing is very similar to Eric Cantona, I think. Similar to Virgil van Dijk. When Van Dijk went to Liverpool, even though this kills me to say it, that was an absolute statement of, now is the time. We're not going to be irrelevant anymore. We're not going to be this type of team that's looking like we might do something, but we're going to fall away. Because if you're being very, very honest, that is what the Green Bay Packers were. Most historic franchise in the NFL, I believe. I'm going to say that. But we've always fell short. And it was a very similar signing to Van Dijk for Liverpool. This one is even worse, I think. When Manchester City signed Carlos Tevez, he was one of my favourite United players at that time. When we won the Champions League in 2008, I personally believe that is the greatest front three that has ever been. Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, any single one of them in that year could have won a Ballon d'Or. They were absolutely insane. But the takeover at City and all that noise they were trying to make, everything that they were trying to do, they took Carlos Tevez to say, this is a statement. We're not going to be this team that's kind of more than irrelevant. Because if you're being very honest, City for years were nothing. But it was a statement signing. We're going to go for him. Sergio Aguero is one of my favourite non-United players of all time. Phenomenal. That was an absolute statement because he was the first world-class signing that you just knew from the very, very beginning was going to hit the ground running. Because I think in his first game against Swansea, he scored a hat-trick. And I remember watching that game back at home. I think I watched it with my dad. And I was sat there thinking, wow. You were hearing all the noise. You were hearing, we've got the money to spend. We can do this. We can do that. But that was a statement to say, we are on the world scene. And this is only going to get more normal. The last thing about the Packers is this has been a summer of not doing the norm. Because we are completely fan-owned team. We are very much based in the Green Bay community. And Lauren's been to Green Bay and I've been to Green Bay. And you really get that, don't you? How much the team means to the community. But I think in the last couple of months since the draft, we've just done things differently. When Mark Murphy got up and said, for the first time in however many years, we're going to take a wide receiver in the first round, the place erupted because I wasn't really expecting that. A couple of people that we were sat with were like, I'd like Matthew Golden, how amazing would that be, but we're probably not going to take it. So to break that norm and then a couple of months later say, we're going to spend big in free agency, we're going to push for it, this is our time. It feels exciting. And I watched an interview with Cam Newton this morning that said, you can't look past the Detroit Lions in that division. That's what he said. He pretty much said if you're picking the Packers over the Lions, you're an idiot because of the team that the Lions have got. And I kind of get that. But I think the point of this podcast and the point of what I'm trying to say is that this is more than just a very skillful football player that you're bringing in. This is more than just, we're bringing in one of the great defensive players, future Hall of Famer. It's more than that. The atmosphere that is currently around the Packers, seeing him on Instagram, on TikTok, this whole thing has created an absolute buzz for the fans, a buzz in the locker room that is going to transfer onto the field. Because when we went to Detroit last year and we watched Lions Packers and they beat us with a field goal, if I remember right, That doesn't happen with Parsons on the field, I don't think. I think having that leader on defence, still having that buzz around it, that buzz in the community, that buzz in the fans, that isn't going to happen. And you've seen it in our football, the players that I just mentioned. When United took Van Persie from Arsenal, we went into that season thinking, we're going to win the league. We are absolutely going to win the league this year. And that is probably the worst United team that has ever won the league. We shouldn't have won it. But that buzz around Van Persie completely changed it. The buzz around Van Dijk coming in, Cantona, Tevez, Aguero, those players that we've spoken about, you can't put a statistic figure on that. So I get that people are talking about his stats, but it's more than that. I live across the world from Green Bay, and there is this feeling that in February, when we've got our newborn, I will be sat up at 3:00 in the morning watching the Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl, and I can truly believe and say I've never felt like that before. The way I felt with United, we've made some unbelievable signings this season, I think, even though we're still doing awfully. You don't get that feeling. One of my friends, Finn from That's Deluded, Finn, I miss you. Get your shit together and let's do another episode. He said when they got Van Dijk and they got Florian Wirtz this season, he was like, we're going to win the league. Absolutely. Because they changed that culture and they changed that idea and that buzz around the football club. That's Parsons. And nobody can put a figure on that. And we actually watched Jerry Jones the other day doing his press conference.
What?
Yeah, we did. I don't know how much attention she was truly giving to it, but we watched it.
I, as a non-NFL fan, I don't really know the rules and everything, I could tell he was, under pressure.
He knew from that press conference, he sat there going, this is crazy. We play them in, 5 weeks. Mental. So some of the teams on the schedule that you were thinking, Lions in week 1, I was sat there thinking, oh my gosh, even though they've lost Ben Johnson, they've lost the defensive coordinator, you're thinking, oh God, all right, I think we win that game. I will absolutely go on record as saying Jared Goff is going to be spending the vast majority of that game on his back looking up at Micah Parsons. I think that is a given now. Just the way it's happened in our football. The last thing I want to tell you, I'm going to wrap up because I'm going to do a short episode for you, with it being week 1, is we're going to keep our deluded opinions. So I'm going to make 2 deluded opinions that I truly believe for the season, and let's see if they happen. So I am going to say the Kansas City Chiefs do not make the AFC title game. I don't think the Chiefs come close this year. I don't think they'll come anywhere near it. That is my bold, deluded opinion for the NFL. I think for the Premier League, Manchester United make the top 4. What score is that against Burnley currently?
Let's have a look.
United make the top 4.
Do you know what else you need to do for the podcast?
Please tell me.
Something like a game at the end about the final whistle.
Oh!
Yeah, well, it was actually Becky's idea. When I told her what you were calling the podcast, she was like, because Rochelle Humes has a podcast, and it's called Ladies That Launch.
Yeah.
So she'll do, rocket fire questions at the end, because rocket launch. So you need to do, a final whistle.
Give me have you got a final whistle question for me right now?
like what?
What's ChatGPT saying?
No, we'll do that on the
That
next.
is coming next. Well, in the next episode, I'm going to have a guest for you. I'm going to keep it NFL themed. We've got a guy called Emerson Lehman coming on the next episode. And he is a news anchor in Green Bay that covers the Green Bay Packers. He's interviewed us while we were out there for the draft. I think it'd be a really good opportunity to sit down with someone that lives in Green Bay, talk about the Parsons trade, what's it like, the feeling around there, predictions, and he's also a Sunderland fan.
Burnley and Man U 2-2.
Are you being serious?
I'm being serious.
Remember when I said United are going to make the top 4? And are you being serious?
Yeah, 2-2.
Who are the goal scorers?
Let's have a look. Will it tell me underneath?
It should do, yeah.
Man United, Jay Cullen.
It was an own goal.
Own goal. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
And then Mbumo.
Yep, and Blamo.
And then for Burnley, Foster and Anthony.
United are going to make the top 4. The Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs won't make the AFC conference title game.
I think they will.
They won't. I think the bubble has burst on the Kansas City Chiefs, and Travis Kelce is planning a wedding. And for someone that is currently planning a wedding, Travis, I feel sorry for you, and there's nothing else in your life right now.
I won't feel sorry for him. He's got all the money in the world. That wedding will be spectacular.
Oh yeah, it probably will.
They could just give us a little bit of money.
But Tay is going to be showing him dresses, suits, locations. What about this? What about that? And poor Travis ain't got time to look at the playbook.
Romeo, take me
somewhere we can be alone. What's the first dance going to be? That's what I want to know.
Can't be a Taylor song, can it? That'd be well weird.
And who's going to be there? Roger Goodell? Roger Goodell got invited to our wedding, but let's see if he turns up.
Because we've got no friends.
Yeah, we do. Us and Rog go way back.
Yeah, Roger, we need to get the numbers up, so...
Rog, I invited you when I was drunk, and it still stands. Wonderful. Episode 2, we're going to have Emerson Lehman on from the Green Bay Packers. He doesn't work for the Green Bay Packers, sorry. He works for a local news station that covers Green Bay, and we're going to be talking about the start of the season.
It's the start of something.
Do you know what? I was actually thinking of like a little jingle to be like, the final whistle.
As long as it's not the Strictly Come Dancing theme tune.
That was the final whistle.
Do you know what you need on your podcast as well?
Go on.
Your mugs. Green Bay Packers mug.
We're trying to keep it sports centric. We're just going Packers now because Parsons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Start with a banger.
Start with a bang. Peace up, A-Town. See you next week.